I think some of you, hopefully many of you, would have attended Charlie Bai's session this morning, which was really so wonderful. So, of course, it was like in the morning, and some of you might have been working because now it's not vacation anymore. So, I would really encourage you to go back to the recording if you haven't seen the class, and it's already on the YouTube channel. So we have now had so far Judy Rogers, Mike George, and Charlie this morning, and it has been so interesting and yeah, very interesting to see their different approaches. And especially this morning, it was all about experiencing, and it seemed such a lovely start for January also, because this is the month of silence, and it is the month to experience. And so this class with Charlie was so fitting for that as well. So this afternoon, we get to explore together again. And hello, Caroline. We wanted to, just before we would go into the reflective exercise and then go into small groups and all of that, just to maybe explore a bit further about the small groups. I was asking some people after the last session, how did it go with your small groups? Did you enjoy it? Like that. Because I can say for myself, sometimes in small groups, in such retreats, maybe especially if it's online, sometimes it's really rich and I really enjoy it, but sometimes it can feel a bit almost like superficial. And so it's not, may not happen automatically that we start sharing from a deep space, especially when we meet like this online. So what are your thoughts, Caroline? How can we make the small group experience, even more rich and enjoyable?
Yeah, thank you, and hello everyone. It is something which I think really the best word is culture. I feel creating a culture, and with that I mean that it's something which evolves and develops when being together, and it's something which you can rationally describe and understand. And I think especially Charlie and Judy explained it quite beautifully when they were talking about that churning is not about intellectual or, clever ideas for them, but it's actually very like from an abstract point of view or from a content point of view, it's simple, and the depth is more in the experience and so it's when you say, Stefania, sometimes the experience is that in the small groups the conversation are not so rich. I think it's also important to say it's not about clever points as we all know, but it's about the feeling and the experience which can evolve in a group. And that so much has to do with trust, with feeling safe enough that I can make myself even a bit vulnerable, like show something from myself, which is, beyond the normal face I put up, and then it becomes interesting. Then it becomes human, or then it becomes something where immediately I can connect to the person, because it's a human experience and I share that human experience. I can be impressed or even enthusiastic and about some clever aspect, and or I mean, I don't want to say it's so negative, but I think it's clear what we try to convey here, that the main focus is on the being together in a safe environment. And on the one hand, I think we BKs get the best education for being able to do that, learning so much about attitude, about how to see one another, vision, you know, how to let go of all the external identities. But on the other hand, sometimes I do also think that we have a strong focus on knowledge, and that still can be like intellectual rather than experiential.
I guess also now while listening to you, entering the group without any expectation, because I was saying like, how can it be more rich? But of course it's up to me. It's like, how do I enter the group? What am I holding inside the group? And that whatever is happening, you know, if I am present and if I am very like, yeah, just present, I will definitely enjoy the experience, whatever will be shared. So not to have any expectation of outcome or anything, but just be fully open and accepting of whatever is shared. I wonder if anyone else from the group would like to share anything connected with this. Maybe you want to open your cameras. It's nice to see you, because this is an interactive session. It's not a class like the other sessions with the resources. So I don't know if any of you want to share or ask or comment about the small groups, anything that you have observed while being in a small group, what helps you enjoy it, what helps you to be fully present. Vibeke, I can see that you are unmuted.
I would like to say that in all gatherings with BKs, wherever I have been, I have felt so trusting and so safe because of the energy from all the others. And I have never experienced it in any other groups outside BKs. So it's a great, heartful thank you.
Shanti, I think small groups are more intimate, and each one can have more time to sort of express what they're feeling, whereas a very big group could be a bit intimidating.
Yes.
Shanti.
For me, it was a new experience because some of you told us that we didn't have to speak. We could also be silent. And very often when I am in small groups, I am thinking beforehand, what am I going to say? But now at this time, I was thinking before, I'm just going to be silent. I'm not prepared to say anything. And through this silence, I was just relaxed. And through this silence, it came very much on the surface, it just came like that. So I found myself, I was, talking about what really I felt, not what I wanted to say to others or maybe inspire others. So I was much more relaxed, and I thought afterwards, okay, it is the silence month.
Silent month and silent mouth.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it helped me a bit, very much, just to have the purpose to be silent, and then it came just very so automatically what I said. So thank you. But I also want to say I always feel very secure, when I am in these small groups. And I know I can say anything, but it is my, I have some expectations, I think, that I want to say something. It is maybe a bit ego or so uncertainty, you know, from my, you know, consciousness. So thank you.
I remember once, Caroline, we had an experiment with a group of sisters. I think we were about 10 sisters in Moringen, and we sat in a circle and we sat for 1.5 hours. And we had this aim of, we said, like, you speak when you feel spoken through, kind of, like not speaking unless you really feel like inspired or you really feel something wants to come through you. And then there were like long periods of silence, and then someone said something, and then again silence, and it was a beautiful experience.
Yeah, to share silence that already requires trust in the moment, because I mean, so often there is an uncomfortable feeling, or can be an uncomfortable feeling, like, what are we doing here, or something needs to be said or so. But especially if you sit in a circle, like, there's a lot of attention in that setting, and you know, everything you say gets a lot of attention. So you kind of don't want to say just blah blah blah. But yeah, that's the beauty of this approach, of this particular dialogue approach, that if we create this energy, this close kind of intimate feeling, then it can happen that dynamic emerges where you don't play to say anything. You have a thought and suddenly someone else says what you think, or something speaks through you and you feel, well, where does that coming from? I think everyone has had these moments, and they are really magical. And also I felt that often there's a high potential for new insights in these collective spaces when we enter that quality of space, that quality of being together. Yeah.
So maybe now you can take us into the reflection,
Yes.
Caroline, before we enter the small groups.
Yes, sure. Okay. So the month of January has started, and we have this very special homework or guidelines points for January. And today is the incorporeal stage, which we are asked to look at and experience. So let's take a moment together where we enter that feeling, that experience. I will share a few thoughts. First of all, I arrive very consciously once again here in this moment, in the gathering of my wonderful family. And now I turn towards myself. I open my heart for myself. And gently be very close with myself. Become more and more subtle. Closer and closer to my most vulnerable part. I can trust myself. I feel safe with myself. My heart expands and my physical form dissolves. My heart is wide and open. And I am pulled into the incorporeal dimension. I am an incorporeal soul. I am tiny, but my heart is big. In this moment, I'm touched by the most beautiful rays of light from my divine beloved. The incorporeal one. I trust him fully. And his light can enter me. Incorporeal light. I hold this moment, this feeling. like a drop falling on the surface of water. I observe the experience expanding. When I come back, I stay in this experience. Thank you. When we enter the small groups now, we take this experience with us. When we enter the small groups, we can start with a moment of silence and drishti, perceiving who's there in my little circle, which souls have entered my circle. And then you can share briefly name and country, and with which feeling, which experience are you entering the space. And when everyone has checked in this way, you can have another moment of silence and drishti. And then lastly, share your experience, the attainment, your observation, whatever is meaningful to you. Thank you, and see you